Hello and welcome to this Carlam Cymru presentation. In this video, we'll be focusing on GCSE History, specifically the Great Depression in Wales. And what we'll be spotlighting here is the effects of the 1930s on people and industry. So we're going to look at a very difficult time in the history of Wales, the Great Depression of the 1930s. We will look at the impact of the Depression on people and industry in Wales and how the country tried to respond to these challenges. So let's look at why the Depression happened. Now, one of the main causes of the deterioration of the coal and iron industries was that there was less demand for them than in previous years, and there was also competition from other countries such as the USA and Australia. On top of that, the Wall Street crash of 1929 had a huge impact on the world economy, including Wales. Following the Wall Street crash, British exports fell by almost half between 1929 and 1931. The Great Depression was a period of serious economic problems in the 30s. Many people lost their jobs and poverty was commonplace, especially in Wales. And the situation was made worse by the dependence on heavy industries such as coal and iron. During the Depression, unemployment in South Wales reached more than 30% in some areas. So, what were the effects on the people of Wales? Many families depended on the dole or unemployment benefit, but some had to pass the means test. This test checked the income of the whole family, and this caused embarrassment and strain for many. In 1936, a hunger march was organised which went from Rhondda to London to draw attention to this and to draw public attention to the situation. The means test meant that the income of other members of the family, such as any children that were working, affected the ability of the family to receive benefits. Think about your family. Are there any others besides your parents who are earning some sort of income? And think, if you were living back then, would your family have to accept less support, or would a member of the family even have to leave home, especially an older brother or sister? Unemployment and emigration. Now, with thousands losing their jobs, many people left Wales in search of work and moved to other places, especially the Midlands. This meant that communities lost people, and that in turn affected social and cultural life. Think about what happens today. Are people leaving your area? Where in Wales do you live? Are young people leaving in search of work or new opportunities? What effect does this have on your communities? Take a few minutes to jot down some ideas, some facts. The impact of a large group of people leaving an area on your community. You can pause the video at this point if you need to. Now, it is estimated that about 430,000 people left Wales during the 1920s and 30s. How did the Welsh respond? In 1934, the Special Areas Acts were introduced to help areas of high unemployment. Think for a moment about the worst affected areas in the 1930s. Industrial areas, especially areas like South Wales. These acts were passed to help areas like these. One of the initiatives that were set up was the Treforest Industrial Estate. If you live locally to the Treforest Industrial Estate, you will know that it still exists today. The intention in setting up the estate was to create new jobs in light industry, that is, areas that were heavily reliant on heavy industries like coal and iron, and then build light industry factories that were more popular and more successful during this time. By 1945, there were about 16,000 employed on the Treforest Industrial Estate. Statistical facts like this will really enrich your answers for the examiner who marks your exam paper. There is no need to learn hundreds of facts and statistics, but including some will definitely boost your answers. The growth of light industry. Okay, so we've already mentioned light industry, but what exactly is the growth of light industry? The new industries included work in the clothes sector and equipment and so on. These jobs were less reliant on big machines and offered opportunities to both men and women. Some of the businesses on the Treforest industrial estate had made connections with Jewish refugees fleeing Europe, which shows that it wasn't necessarily trained people that were required, but rather just people for the workforce to be able to run these factories. So this provided jobs for people, gave them purpose, but also improved the local economy. And if local families had any spare income, they would spend it in the local shops, in the local cinemas, and so on. So it had this domino effect on local areas. So that was the purpose of these Special Areas Acts. Chat with your teacher and family to see in the long term how successful these acts were. Leisure time during the Depression. You will already have looked at leisure during the Depression, and after that, you'll be moving on to look at leisure time during the war. So do make sure that you're able to differentiate between leisure during the war and leisure during the Depression. You don't want to be confusing the two if there's a direct question that asks about one or the other. So here are the leisure activities during the Depression. Tourism and trips to the seaside, sport, rugby and football, and then radio and cinema were popular forms of entertainment. Despite the difficulties, people were looking for ways to enjoy themselves, and these things were very popular. Why do you think that people were happy to spend money on entertainment during this time, especially during a time where money was so scarce? Do you think they are perhaps trying to escape from the reality of the situation of the Depression? Were they trying to escape from the reality of the economic challenges? And things like radio, cinema and sport were fairly cheap, so it was possible for people to do these things during this time. An interesting fact for you. The BBC used to broadcast Welsh language programmes during the 1930s, including music and drama. So this meant that Welsh-speaking communities had access to these things in their own language. Now, the people of Wales demonstrated strength and cooperation during this period. So you may have a question in the exam that asks whether the 1930s were actually as bad as all that in reality. There's no yes/no answer to that question. It's possible to look at different regions of Wales and see different things. Some areas had it very bad during this period and had huge challenges trying to survive economically. But some areas of Wales showed more prosperity in economical terms. And those areas didn't feel the effect so badly. And you can look at that. Look at the positive things that came out of this period and also the negative things. Now, one of the positive things that came out of this period was a development in the entertainment and leisure sectors, with people enjoying going on holiday, catching the train to the seaside and so on. So it wasn't a matter of the 1930s being all bad or all good. It's not that clear cut. It's really important that you have a table for noting the positive things and the negative things to prepare for the exam. So the Welsh people did show strength during this period, especially in the heavy industry areas of the country. They did succeed in surviving huge difficulties. Having said that, there were some communities that changed forever, especially communities that experienced a lot of emigration, with people leaving those communities, people moving beyond the borders of Wales. And it wasn't then easy for those people to return to those communities later. So those people were lost from the communities. The Great Depression was a driver for a number of social and economic changes in Wales, including developments in education and community services. When preparing for the exam, remember that there is a wealth of revision resources available to you. A good starting point is the resources area of the WJC website. They have blended learning resources that are really valuable. You can access them on your phones, tablets, and so on. So in a few clicks, you can get to some really good resources. They have been written by teachers, so they are tailored to the courses that you're studying. They also include questions that help you to develop your skills in answering exam questions. The WJC revision books are another source that will suit those of you who enjoy using books to revise, who enjoy flicking through pages. And the great thing about these books is that they include examples of exam papers. Practicing exam questions is a great way to prepare. Practice, practice, practice. You should also time yourself as you go through the questions. Getting your timing right in the exam is really important. So the more practice you get at that, the better. Then the BBC Bite Size website is also really good for filling any gaps. And last but not least, there's the Carlam Cymru website for which this video has been produced. And we'll finish with that. So you'll see there the link to the Carlam Cymru website. So do check out what other videos are on the website to help you with your revision. Good luck in the exam, or the exams, I should say.